Well, hello everyone. Welcome to What's Cakin' Baby. This week's episode, we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to go off-site and we're going to visit a few craft stores. And the reason why I'm going to do this is to show you that you can find amazing cake decorating supplies in other parts of craft stores other than the cake decorating section. I have a tendency, I love craft stores, and I have a tendency to walk around and doing this, and I look at everything, and doing this, it inspires me to find new decorating ideas. And there are so many different things in cake decorating stores that you can use, and you don't even have to go to the cake decorating section. So we're going to do that today. And we're going to visit 3 stores. We're going to visit Hobby Lobby, which is one of my favorites. And then we're going to visit Michaels and Joann Fabrics. And by doing so, we're going to look into other parts of the store that you can find cake decorating tools that you didn't even know that was available. Clay tools. You can go to the clay section, and most clay tools you can use in the cake decorating sector. You just use it for cakes and not intermittently with clay, obviously. So let's get started, and we're going to start out with Hobby Lobby, and we'll go to the others after that. Okay, we are on our way to Hobby Lobby. We are at our first stop, Hobby Lobby. And I'm getting ready to go in. I have masked up because it is 2020. And by the way, speaking of masks, what do you think of my mask? Caking, huh? I know, I'm a cake geek. I think about cake all the time. All right, let's head in and go visit other sections of the store except for the cake decorating section. Where to begin? Where to begin? Oh my gosh, I love this store. Okay, these we can use to mold candy melts, or to modeling chocolate. You can use these and mold modeling chocolate over it and make really pretty faces with modeling chocolate. And I often use these when I'm making fondant beach balls in my beach ball set that I sell on Etsy. These are the perfect size for a beach ball. Cover them with fondant, modified fondant, or gum paste, and you can put your stripes on them. And these right here are perfect for molding small heads. I have a head mold, a face mold, and instead of making it solid, you can put this into the mold, and then you can cover it. Well, you put the fondant in there, then you push the ball in there, and it helps give you the shape. What else do we have here? Oh, they have some cake dummies. This is an 8-inch cake dummy. Perfect. You can use that, and you can practice fondant or buttercream on there. And they have, it looks like they have almost a 12-inch and a 10-inch. I usually buy them online, but I didn't realize that Hobby Lobby sold them, so that is a very good thing. And the styrofoam molds are perfect for using underneath fondant or when you are doing dummy cakes. And I actually have some dummy cupcakes at home, styrofoam cupcakes that I use to show decorating techniques. Okay, let's try a different area in the store section, and I'll tell you, these would make great coverings on your cake board, such as this one right here. I don't want to touch too many things because of COVID and trying not to touch much, but this is a cardstock, and you can cut it to your cake board and glue it on, and your cake drum actually, and then you put your cake on top of it, which is on a cake board. And they have so many neat ones. Like here's one with writing Oh my gosh, that would be really cool. So you can use these to cover your cake boards. They are in squares, so it would need to be probably anything under, I would say under a 10-inch cake. So you can also, I'm sure, get them in larger sizes, but oh, they're 12 by 12. There are some great organizers that you can put your small things in. And this one would look good with putting maybe your petal dust or your sparkle dust in. And the same goes with these. These have compartments. You can put petal dust, or you can put your colors, your gel colors in them. I'm all about organizing. I have containers for everything in my cake studio. These are great to use on fondant. They have so many different kinds. And check out these eyelash stamps. Aren't they adorable? And what you can do, you can use these as impressions on your fondant. Oh my goodness, I see a taco one. Isn't that adorable? That is so cute. And I have dog paw prints. And what you do is, say you're going to stamp them onto your cake board, cover your cake board in fondant, and then you can use stamps to get the impression, and then you use petal dust to dust onto it, so it'll bring out the impression much better. But these are great. I mean, I have a happy birthday one, and stamps are a great addition to your cake decorating supplies to imprint anything pretty much. Here are some great craft tools that are not in the cake decorating section, and these are punch presses, and they come in a variety of designs. You can use these with wafer paper and press designs of wafer paper and place them onto your cake. They have them in all different sizes. And you have some craft tools here, and scissors. These are all great craft tools that you can use in cake decorating. We're in the woodworking aisle, and I'll tell you, the clock making section, you really need to check it out for cake decorating, such as this right here. These wood pieces that people use to make clocks, I use these as cake stand, as a cake board, cake drum. And I have put cakes, you could do a 6-inch cake on this. And it makes a very nice rustic finish to a cake. And you have pieces that are used to make clocks. You can use these as cake stands also. They've got square ones here. Well, that's actually more rectangular, but you know what I mean. And this rotary tool kit, this is actually a very, very good accessory to have. And it looks like it's on sale. I might buy it. I don't have a rotary set yet. And what a rotary set does is it helps you drill holes into the wood, so you can put supports underneath. And I can show you that in one of the cakes that I made. It was my Black Friday shopper cake, and I made the stand out of a wood block, and I drilled holes into it and placed copper tubing in it for supports, and I'll show you that. That'll be another whole lesson. So that rotary toolkit is really great. Let's look at other things here. I have used these wheel type items right here as supports on the upside and underside of making my build my support for a project. Oh, and I forgot to tell you about the wooden dowels. All these wooden dowels. These are perfect. Actually, this size right here is perfect for going down the center of a cake, of a tiered cake, and hammered into the base to give it support so the cake doesn't shift around anymore. You do have dowels that you put in each layer to support the layer above, but I also put a center dowel going down the center to hold the entire cake together. And of course, you let your customers know that there is a wooden dowel down the center. Now here, it looks like they have some that's already sized perfectly. This goes up to 12 inches, and you can even cut it down a little bit. But I always put a wooden dowel down the center of my cake so the cake does not slide when you're traveling. Now we're over in the clay section, and they have mold making kits, such as Sculpt It, and another good one is, it's called Sculpey, and I have some of this at home. And what it does, you can make your own molds with these, and I'll show you. There's casting. Why I'm showing you this is because, okay, right over here, see all these seashells? You can make a mold using that product, the Sculpey product, and make seashell molds. So you can get the impression of the seashells, and you can make a mold and you'll have it. And then you can use that mold to use to make fondant and gum paste shells, or whatever else you're going to use to make an impression. In the jewelry making aisle, and you definitely want to visit the jewelry making aisle because there are so many great tools here that you can use in when you make fondant and gum paste decorations. We have, these are jewelry storage for beads, and you can use them for your petal dust, for any small trinkets that you make. And right here we have jewelry making tools. Now these are invaluable in the cake decorating world. I actually have something similar to that one, and it has pliers and chisels and just every tool that you could possibly need, and you can use them in the cake decorating world. I have clippers and needle nose pliers. These are great, especially when you're making flowers, when you're making sugar flowers. They are great tools to have. Okay, now I am in an aisle of poster board and foam core boards, and I've never seen this before, and this is interesting. These are Better Than Paper bulletin board rolls, and they're 12 feet per roll. They're inexpensive, and I thought this would be a great idea for an inexpensive backdrop for taking pictures of your cakes. This is a nice one. And there's all kinds of patterns here, and you can use them as backdrops for your cake decorating, for your photos. Here we have foam core boards. These are invaluable. I always buy the 1/2 inch thick one, and it's very inexpensive, $7.99, and you can cut them down, and you can cut them in circles, you can cut them, they have some over here that are already cut, but I usually buy them by the board, and you can cut them down and decorate them and use them, as cake drums. They're perfect for cake drums. 1/2 inch thick is a perfect thickness, especially if you have tiered cakes that are heavy. I am now in one of my favorite aisles, the art section. Oh my gosh, I love this aisle. These palettes I use all the time. I put my my color dust, my petal dust, sparkle dust, and I put them in here, and then you add a little vodka to make it into a paint, and then you can paint it on your decorations, your cake decorations. And I have several different kinds. I actually think I have this set. You have several of them. And the paint palettes are invaluable. They really, really are. Especially if you're going to be doing decorations for cakes. And then here you have more organizers. You can put your colors in there, your petal dust. And going down the aisle, you have some palette knives. Now, I just bought a set online, and I didn't realize that I could have gotten them here at Hobby Lobby. I actually bought one similar to that one. And palette knives are great for when you're palette painting on cakes. Palette painting is a very popular cake technique right now, and we'll be going over that in another video. But palettes are very invaluable when you're doing decorating on cakes. And sponges. I have several sponges, and these are also great. You can cover your cake board in fondant, and then you get the colors that you want to decorate the cake board in, and then you put them in your paint palette and add some vodka or water. Water will actually water it down and give it more of a watercolory look. And then you dip your sponge into the paint, the edible paint, and then you dab it onto the cake board. And you get this really cool sponge-like pattern. And it doesn't have to be just your cake board. It can also be on your cake. And then also I have these foam brush kit sets. They just give a different texture. You have to experiment and try different textures. And it's always good to have a color wheel. And that helps you mixing colors and seeing which colors go well together and don't go well together. And I have a whole basket of brushes in my cake studio. And most of my brushes I get in the art section of the craft stores. I mean, look at the choices we have here. There are so many choices. And I would suggest getting something that you have a wide variety of choices, and also even add some of these paintbrush, larger, thick bristled ones, because they are good for painting, for creating, say, a wood grain cake board. And you can use those. They work really, really well for that. And as you can see, there's brushes upon brushes upon brushes. You can spend a lot of money, or you can buy some sets that are very inexpensive also. So it's up to you. But this is a great aisle to find cake decorating tools. We are now in the fabric section of Hobby Lobby, and we have ribbons. I can't tell you how many ribbons I have at home. They are great for putting around cakes as a border, around the cake boards, to decorate the cake board, the side of the cake board. When you put them around cakes, you want to put a piece of tape around it to make it food safe. So we have all kinds of ribbon, and I I must have over 100 rolls of ribbon in my cake studio, because you never know what design you're going to get and need. So in all the cakes that I've made, the ribbon, I have several different ribbons for several different projects. So I have tons, almost every color you can think of. But ribbons are a great addition to your cake decorating tools or supplies. And just check out the ribbon section. And actually, we're going to go to Joann Fabrics after we have Michaels and Joann Fabrics also. But I'll tell you, Joann Fabrics is my favorite ribbon place because they have huge selection. But Hobby Lobby has a great selection also, so you have to check them out. And when I am using ribbons, when I'm putting them around the cake drum, I use 5/8 of an inch. And then when I'm tying bows on, say, sugar flower arrangements, I use thinner ones, the thinnest ones I can find, because you can curl them better. These are a bit thick, and the size I usually go for, this is 5/8 right here. So that works perfectly when you were putting them around the side of a cake, around the side of the cake drum as a border. Since we are in the sewing section, I have to tell you that you have to visit this area right here, the sewing supplies area. These boards, they are self-healing rotary mat boards, and I have a large one like this one, and I have a smaller version. They are great to work with your fondant on, because when you're cutting it, it self-heals. They are my workstation mats that I use when I'm working with making cake toppers and decorations, because they are self-healing, and you can cut them. You won't cut your table underneath. You can cut through to cut all the way through your fondant, and it self-heals. It's amazing. And you can get lots of scissors here for your cake decorating supplies. And you have some rotary cutters. I actually use a pizza cutter as my rotary cutter, and it works just as well, and it's actually a lot cheaper. So take a look at some of the section of the sewing area in your hobby store. You can find some great tools over here that you can use in cake decorating. Okay, that was a fun adventure. Hobby Lobby has a lot of different aisles of great items that you can use for cake decorating tools. And notice that I did not take you in the cake decorating aisle. So that is because there are so many other aisles that you can look at. All right, onward to our next store. We're going to go to Michaels. Okay, we are at Michaels, and we are getting ready to go inside to look for some non-traditional cake decorating supplies. Let's go. The first aisle I came to in Michaels was the stamp aisle, just as we were looking at Hobby Lobby. Michaels has a great selection of stamps. Just look at this. You can do anything. And it looks like they're on sale this week too. So we have all kinds of neat things that we can stamp onto fondant. Everywhere, anywhere. So check this aisle out next time you visit Michaels, because they do have a huge selection, and they even have kits too. They have stamps with letters, and they have fish stamps, animal stamps. They have all kinds of neat sets. There's emoji stamps. Cute. All right, let's see what else we have here. Now we are at the cardstock aisle, and as we saw in Hobby Lobby, and this looks like a much more extensive aisle of cardstock that you can use for cake boards. Probably the largest, they're 12 by 12, so you can probably do up to a 12-inch round cake, or you could do square cakes. I would say 10-inch, because you want the whole purpose of using this is to get the design in. So I would say no higher than a 10-inch cake, so you can see the design. Okay, and here's a whole section on washi tape. And you can use this the same way as you would use ribbon around the cake board. There's some really cool designs here. So it's a neat way of being creative around the cake board. And we also have paper flowers, and you can use these around the cake drum also, just to make it a little bit fancier. And here you have some cutting elements. You can use this for cutting wafer paper into strips. Okay, and here we are in the polymer clay and the resin aisle, and they have a lot of cutters that you can use, and you can use these for fondant. And they even have kits and all kinds of neat things here. And this is over here, we have the jewelry making area. And as we saw in Hobby Lobby, here are some tools. And here's a dreamer. And lots of tweezers and pliers, and you can use these for when you were cutting floral wire and pretty much anything, and a wide variety of different types of tweezers, which I do need. I only have one set of tweezers, and I really like this set right here because they have several different tips on them. Okay, and I just happened to turn around and see all this cord. If you were doing a nautical cake or anything under the sea type of cake, this cord would work great for hot gluing around the cake drum. And you can use that instead of ribbon. What a great idea. Okay, we are in the clay section of the store. And there are so many things that you can use here for fondant and gum paste. Look at all the cutters here. They're very similar to regular cake decorating cutters. And here's some molds that you can use with fondant and gum paste, modified fondant that is, and armature wire. Armature wire is really important when you're building figures and using it for supports. So I use armature wire a lot. This is an extruder. Now, this I have to show you. This is a very valuable tool. I have the exact same set. And what I use it for when I need very fine strands, say I'm using it for hair or just small trim, you put in very softened fondant in there, and you pick the piece that you want to use, and then you squeeze it, and it squeezes it out. You just turn the handle, and it squeezes it out, and then you have all these fine strands, and it works great for working with fondant. Love this set. I use it all the time. Let's see if I can get it back up there. Oops, you know what? I'm going to turn this off for a second, but before I do, I will show you the other tools. These tools right here, clay tools, are great for when you're sculpting modeling chocolate or gum paste. They work great. Now I have this extruder also, but I'll tell you, I don't use that one anymore. This one right here works best for me. But buy one that'll work best for you. And here we are in the paint aisle. I really don't have to say anything much about this aisle because we discussed it over at Hobby Lobby. But here you see the sponges that you can use to make some interesting designs on fondant. And a wide variety of paintbrushes. And paint palettes. You can never have enough of these. Okay, now it's an aisle of getting really creative with cake stands. You can make a unique cake stand by, say, something like this. You use, as we see over here, string lights. Well, probably these, the mini string lights. And you can put them, wrap them around on the inside of the glass, and then fill the glass up with beads, with colorful beads, and that's in probably the next aisle over. And then this way, those lights that I just showed you are battery operated, so you can you'll have a luminous little cake stand, and then you just put the cake board on top, and then this would illuminate. And that would be really neat. You could do that with any of these things here, any of these containers and lanterns. And you can also use these tea lights, the sparkle tea lights. Put a few in a container underneath the cake stand and then light them up, and then you have a lighting up cake stand. Okay, I'm just going to visit one more part of Michael's because a lot of the things that are here are we also discussed over at Hobby Lobby. But here we have my favorite aisle, ribbons. All kinds of ribbons. Ribbons, ribbons, ribbons. Any color you can think of. Ooh, the winter themes are coming out. So if you're looking to purchase something for Christmas cakes, I would head out there now because these things just fly off the shelves, the holiday ones. It looks like this is the whole holiday section anyway. But there was some really pretty ones. I love this one. But those are a little bit thicker to use as a cake drum, around a cake drum. But you can make a bow out of this and put it on the bottom of the cake stand. That would look pretty. So let's head on over to our last stop, Joann Fabric, and we'll see what they have over there that we can use as cake decorating tools in non-cake decorating sections of the craft stores. We are at our final stop, Joann Fabrics, and I'm not going to talk too much outside the store because it has started raining and I want to stay dry. So let's head into Joann's. And my glasses are steaming. When I was heavily into sewing, which I do occasionally now, I used to come into Joann Fabrics and just browse and browse and browse at all the wonderful fabric. So I haven't been doing much sewing lately, but I do want to tell you that the fabric is perfect for cake photo backdrops. When I first started out, before I started buying vinyl backdrops for my cakes, I would come into Joann Fabrics, pick some different patterns or some solid usually works best, or a light pattern, and I would usually buy about 3 yards, and that was enough to do backdrops for my cakes. And the teal turquoise is my signature color, so I would buy a lot of that, and it worked really great for backdrops for for taking your cake photos. You just make sure they're ironed, and you could have some pretty neat patterns. I mean, if you're looking for a summer backdrop, you have sunflowers here. If you're looking for children's backdrops, you have all these. Well, these are fleece. I usually don't buy fleece. I usually buy either cotton or a silk material. Silk works beautifully as a backdrop. It does wrinkle easily, but it works great as a backdrop. And I'm trying to find some for you. I have several pieces of silk material that I still will use on occasion for backdrops, for taking my cake photos. Okay, it looks like the silky material is over here. Oh, I just love this store. Okay, here's some silk type fabric, and it works great for backdrops. And even if you get a solid, say a solid ivory, and then drape this over top of that and use as a backdrop, it would make a beautiful backdrop. We are now over in the Sewing Notions and steamers aisle, and I did want to show you, there are a couple of steamers. I don't see the one that I bought, but I believe I did get it at Joann Fabrics. But here's a inexpensive steamer, and this one has a little bit more power to it and more features, so it's higher in price. But a steamer is also very invaluable when you're making gum paste, cake toppers, and flowers, especially flowers, because when you're making gum paste flowers, after you color and use color dust on them, you want to steam them, and it helps set the color in. So that's pretty important when you are making gum paste flowers. And so you want to always have a steamer, or if you don't want to spend the extra money in a steamer, you can just boil some water in a pot and run the flowers lightly over the steam. And this is also great for wafer paper, for giving wafer paper movement. I make wafer paper feathers, and to give the feathers movement, I will just run them for a couple seconds under steam, and it gives them curl and movement, and they just look more realistic. So think about a steamer also. Okay, we're in the next aisle over, still in the Sewing Notions, and I'm looking at tape measures. You want to have several of these because I always misplace them, and tape measures are great for measuring out how much fondant you need. Say you're making a 13-inch round cake, so you want to measure the diameter and circumference, and this way you can, the diameter on a cake, what am I saying, to find out how much fondant you're going to need. And that's if you don't have my calculator that I have on the website, a free fondant download. It tells you how much fondant you'll need for your cakes. I do want to say something about thread, which I learned from Nicholas Lage, how to make thread stamens. And what you want to do, you get the heavy duty thread, and you want to, you wrap it around your finger several times, and then you tie it in the center, then you cut it off, and then you turn them over and you put tape around them. So I will do a tutorial on showing you how to do that, but I do have sewing thread in my cake decorating studio, and I use it for making stamens for gum paste flowers. And we are at the ribbon aisle. And remember when we were at Hobby Lobby, I did tell you that I felt that Joann Fabric has the most diversified and the largest selection of ribbon, and I am correct. It looks like this is only one aisle.
of the ribbons. And they have another whole aisle of ribbons. And this is both sides. And they have a back end aisle of ribbons. So I would think that you could find any kind of ribbon you're looking for here at Joann Fabrics. So I think that's going to wrap it up for our tour of the 3 craft stores, and we'll head back to the cake studio. Before we go, I did want to show you another important aisle in which we have lots of cake decorating supplies in, and that's the sewing notions, the scissors, the cutting mats, and like we were saying in Hobby Lobby, these cutting mats are just invaluable. I don't work with my fondant or gum paste off of these mats. You can cut through them, and they are self-healing. And here's some rotaries, which I told you I use a pizza cutter for. And these rollers are great. I have several rollers. This one is really good, and these are great for measuring out your fondant. I do Harry Potter decorations, and I make Harry Potter scarves, and I have them at a certain length, so I use these rollers to cut my lengths and the widths on them. This rotary circle cutter is really great. I didn't think about that, but you can use this for making your parchment circles for your cake pans. And then here are several different types of scissors. You cannot have enough scissors. I have several scissors of all of all different sizes. And it's always good to have small sets. I make gelatin bubbles, and these small scissors are great to get into the dried gelatin bubble to cut out the balloon in the center. So, like I said, this is another aisle that has great supplies for cake decorating. And I was just finishing up over in the ribbon aisle, and I have to tell you a story. My granddaughter is turning 1 year old, and my daughter wants a taco smash cake for her daughter. The theme is like that because the baby shower was taco about a baby. So her baby shower was taco theme. So for my granddaughter's first birthday, I'm making a taco smash cake. And I was looking for taco ribbon that I can use around the cake drum. And I was disappointed that I did not see any. So I know I've seen them on Etsy, so I'll probably order my taco ribbon on Etsy. So I just have to tell you that story. My daughter gives me a challenge every time, but that's okay. I love challenges. So I just wanted to tell you that cute story. And I'll have to post a picture of my taco baby smash cake. So, all right, let's head back to the studio.
Okay, my friends, we are back in the cake studio, and our field trip is over, but what have you learned today? What have you seen today? There are so many tools in craft stores that you can use in the cake decorating world. I hope you learned something today, and I hope you had fun watching. I know I had fun going out on the field trip, and I picked a fine day to do this. My hair is all flat. It's been raining outside, but that's okay. And it was just a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed it, and I hope everyone did too. So I will see you next week, and have a great day.